I know I said I wasn't going to do any more videos, but you know what? The world is just so beautiful. And I would hate for single travelling women like myself who sit at home and think they'd like to do something but are waiting for this magical person to turn up. And I mean, they're not gonna. If we don't get out there and live the life that we want to live, we will spend our whole lives waiting for this imaginary man or woman to turn up. And it's not going to happen. But there are things we can do as women to be safe when we're travelling alone. For example, dropping a location. There was a terrible case of a European tourist in Tasmania a couple of years ago who went missing. Her body was found recently, and had her family had her last known location or some other means of contacting her, or knew that she was there, perhaps she might not have died alone in the middle of the Tasmanian bush. And I want other women to know that there are all these amazing, beautiful places in Western Australia, in the world, that you can travel to on your own without having to have someone with you. I've spent my whole life travelling alone, and in fact probably travelling with other people I find really inconvenient, apart from my kids, who are always a great source of joy and create lots of adventures when we were travelling together. But travelling alone doesn't have to be terrifying. You do need to make some sensible decisions around travelling alone, such as letting family or friends know where you are or where you're staying. And even if they don't respond, or they respond with a thumbs up emoji or something, at least somebody knows where you were should the worst happen. And of course there's dangers, the bear argument, bear versus man argument. Again, women, we know how to protect ourselves. We do all the things anyway to protect ourselves from being stuck in a place with a strange man. We try our best. And letting people know where you are, updating people regularly, is a really important part of that safety net that you have. We can't stop every possible scenario or every evil person doing what they're going to do. We can't stop that, but we can hold on to our energy. We can hold on to our sense of we have a right to be here. Women have worked so hard. Our grandmothers and great-grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers worked so hard to get women a voice, and for women to be able to buy a house without a man's permission, to be able to travel alone, so make the most of it, at any moment, some idiot can change that law and mean that we can't do things alone. And you might miss the moment. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But the way the world is going at the moment, we just have no idea what's happening next. So if you're a woman who wants to travel but a bit scared to do it on your own, this is the world you could see on your own. I'm in a place called Merredin in Western Australia, in what's called the Wheat Belt, and all around the back of me there's big rocks, Merredin Rock I think it's called, and then all around this area are wheat paddocks and wheat. There's actually a wind farm not far over there, and I can hear football in the distance. And this is a place where the early settlers came, and a lot of the rocks in these areas, they put a fence at the bottom, or a brick at the bottom, to channel the water that came off the rock to supply water for the area. And of course there's not a lot of water in these outback areas. It has to be piped through from Perth with the Kalgoorlie line. And this was a way that they could capture water locally, and it's in a lot of these rocks. And a lot of the rocks in WA and in Australia, in fact, get a lot of attention, like Wave Rock or Uluru or Kotatuja. They get heaps of attention and heaps of people, but I'm here on a rock with outstanding views of the Wheat Belt, and there's not another person here. Both terrifying and exciting, as my previous video stated, but you can see all the forest, the woodlands. I can hear the birds singing. I can hear the tractors on the highway. And it just reminds me one more time how incredibly glorious and wonderful our world is. Go and see it.